guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy, he's in his late 30s, he's married, couple kids, good life and all that. And he's sharing his story from like 16, 17 years ago when he was in college, and about a gal that he dated for a little while. Definitely not a very good one. However, he was young, wanted to get some, and he stuck around with her. However, you're going to see how she wanted to do a long-distance relationship for a while, and between her being a little off, he knew this was not going to be a very good idea, and he ended it with her, which was the right thing to do, and moved on. Well, to no surprise, in the usual fashion of being rejected, they always come back. And of course, she tried her actions to pursue him, get him to come back. Nope, didn't work, and he moved on. And it's a quick story, but I thought I'd make a very good point, guys. Number one, don't do long-distance relationships. And this guy knew not to do it, and this definitely was not the girl, and how they can't take rejection. And usually when they do, they either go crazy and try to make your life a nightmare, or they try different ways to get back in your life and get you back. It's always pretty funny there. And it's also funny I worked out, because when it ended with her, he ended up with a gal, became his future wife. But before I get into this real quick, I have a quick success story from a guy who went through a hard time after a breakup, made mistakes, but he then got his life back up on track, and he wanted to quick share with me, and share it with you guys. Maybe some of you guys can relate. So this guy says, hey SSM, I wanted to write you and give you a big thank you for helping all us guys. This isn't very long, but I wanted to tell you that thanks to your channel and the kick in the butt that you give guys, I've drastically changed around my life. I was in my late 20s at the time of the bad breakup, and I went down a downward spiral for a while. I put on like 40 pounds in a year, wasted a lot of my savings, and stopped doing a lot of the things that I enjoyed. In hindsight, I was severely depressed. Sounds like it, man. Probably that was the first time it really hit you that hard. You didn't describe much about the girl, but I'm guessing probably you were in love with her and with her for a while. 40 pounds in a year, yeah. After about a year and a half of this, two of my buddies intervened as they knew this was not me. They gave me the bro talk that I needed, a well-needed kick in the ass. We agreed to all start going to the gym together to lift twice a week after work and once on the weekends. We also made a pledge to eat better and minimize the booze, as that wasn't doing anything for us. Bro, those guys really helped you out. That's awesome. 3 times a week you're hanging out, gym time with the guys, pledge to eat better, like you're each other's sponsors. Brilliant. Additionally, they pushed me to go to therapy for someone to talk to, as one of them has a mom who also has bad depression. The therapy really helped and helped me identify triggers for the depression and how to do my best at handling it. Bravo. I'm glad you weren't too proud to go to a therapist. It does help people, you know. Look, depression, a lot of people have it, and people get it in varying degrees, but it can incapacitate you. You don't want to do anything you enjoy. All you want is just mope around. You gotta, as hard as it is, get off the couch and get out and do stuff, you know. Goes in my family, I get it. Well, between the gym, hanging out with my bros, and the therapy, I started to feel like myself again. Around the same time, I started watching YouTube videos about battling depression, getting your life together, and one of your videos popped up. Hey, perfect timing. I was immediately hooked, and I can say that you definitely helped me get to the finish line. Since then, I've now lost the 40 pounds that I put on, plus an additional 10. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Your friends led you to the water, and you drank it. But at the end of the day, you know, your buddies helped you, and the therapy helped you, and I helped you, but you made the choice that you were going to get back on track, and I'm proud of you. Also, I recently got a better job, and I'm putting money away and investing it. Your videos have also helped me learn where I definitely went wrong in my past relationship. I was a little bitch, as well as the previous ones. Presently, I'm not interested in relationships, as I know it's a mess out there, plus my goals are much more important to me. When the day comes, I will certainly be in a better place than I was and not make the same mistakes or let myself go down a downward spiral. Thanks again and keep doing what you've been doing, Sam. Bravo, Sam. That is really good, man. But your situation is very common. There ain't anybody out there that doesn't go through hard times and can make mistakes, and they fall into a trap, a downward spiral, put on a lot of weight, piss away their money on BS to make them feel better. And a lot of times it takes good friends or family to step in and give you a good talk, and sometimes a well-needed kick in the ass. So I'm glad that all happened. Give a shout out to your bros that helped you out. Okay, on to the main story. So this guy says, hello SSM. I've been following your channel since around COVID, and I think your work is a great service to the young guys out there. Brother, thank you. I thank all you guys for watching me, but especially you guys in the beginning, because if it wasn't for you guys in the very beginning, it wouldn't have gotten the channel, promoted by YouTube and all that. Thank you. I'm 37. I live and work in the same Midwest metro where I went to college and met my wife. We moved away for a while, but I have been back here for 6 years now. We live about 1 hour from my parents. I've been married to Becky for 13 years, and we have a 9-year-old and 7-year-old. But this story is about a gal I was seeing before my wife. When I went to college, I had a wild freshman year. I almost flunked out, and I lost my virginity to an Irish red-headed lesbian. Okay. Did she know she was a lesbian then? Maybe you guys want to hear that story another time. Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. Anyway, over the next 2 years, I changed my major to something that felt more like a natural calling to me. I didn't want to disappoint my parents and my grandfather, and I started going to a campus ministry, and I initially liked it, that I wasn't wasting my life partying. But over time, they became more militant about who I dated, and even had us do a media fast one summer. I started to feel like I was in kind of a cult. A media fast. I mean, frankly, the media is garbage. Mainstream media, so maybe that wasn't such a bad idea. Unless you meant like everything. All information going on in the world. Which, that's a bad idea, because you want to know what's going on in the world. Even if the media spins it away, but still you get the point. Well, I decided to take a break. My best friend's girlfriend had a single friend, and I figured, why not give it a shot? It's not like I hadn't dated before, but usually by the second date, I get bored. Later in life, I realized the more interesting ones came with their own trade-offs. Well, naturally. And usually the better looking they are, the more trade-offs there are. Anyway, Melanie, that's obviously her name, she liked me enough to keep seeing me after we hung out with John and Kate, my friends. So she started picking me up all the time. She lived off campus, and I was in the dorms, so she had a car. By the second or third time we hung out, things got pretty wild. She asked if I've ever parked before. I had no idea what she meant, so she showed me. She drove us to her old elementary school, parked in the dark corner, and things escalated from there. Well, that sounds like high school, college loving. The next time we hung out, I went to her house and met her mom. They lived on the opposite ends of the house. Then she showed me something that kind of unsettled me, a shrine to her dad, who had died when she was 12 years old. But I was 20 years old, horny, so I didn't think too much about it. Dude, she could have had an altar worshipping the Dark One, and I think at 20 years old you wouldn't have cared as long as you were getting some. And I want to know what this shrine is to her father. I mean, was it just, a section of the house that had pictures of him and stuff like that? I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But, anyhow. Well, we'd hang out quite regularly, eat fried food, watch terrible rom-coms. I didn't really enjoy them, but again, I was 20, and I wanted to get some. After about 5 months, I took her to meet my parents. It's interesting it took you 5 months to take her to meet your parents, which probably is why she kept you around, because you weren't rushing into things. Obviously, there was a reason you didn't show her to the parents. She wanted to find somewhere to park near the house, so we ended up near an abandoned movie theater. Oddly, my parents didn't seem to like her very much, but they never said why. It was strange because on paper she seemed impressive. Straight A student, archaeology student, 34 in her ACT. I guess it was foreshadowing. Obviously, you knew there was a reason why you didn't take her to see your parents. Remember, you're 20 years old, and all you're thinking about is getting some, and your parents are probably like my age, in their 40s. They've been around the block, and they take one look at her and be like, nope, she's trouble. Well, at one point, she wanted to take a trip to another city known for its dollhouse museum. So I drove us there. Smack! A dollhouse museum? Dude, really? By then, I was starting to find her a bit odd. She was clearly very smart, but her interests felt kind of underdeveloped. Lowbrow rom-coms and dolls. Another thing that bothered me was that she kept saying that she didn't want children. I've always felt a strong conviction about building a family and for being a provider like my dad and grandpa, so that started to weigh on me. Well, honestly, it's actually a good thing that someone like her, who's an oddball, isn't bringing children into this world, so that's actually a good thing. Around the 9-month mark, she dropped something big on me. She called and said that she wanted to go on an archaeological dig in Syria for 6 months. 6 months, huh? An archaeological dig in Syria. Yeah, I think the only archaeological dig will be Her by Aziz and Muhammad. Yeah, not a good idea. I told her I don't think that would work for our relationship. I also said it seemed like we were on different, wanted different things in life. She pushed back, saying that we weren't that different, but it felt like we were heading in different directions. In other words, you broke up with her. Perfectly good time. Good, dude. Don't do that long distance thing, and I can only imagine what she's doing again in Syria on this archaeological dig. After that, I went back to the campus ministry for a while and avoided dating. Women just felt like too much hassle beyond some light banter. Yes, that pretty much sums it up. A few months after that, Melanie, the ex, called me one night while I was with friends. Like an idiot, I picked up the phone. She said that Ashley and I are making out. Ashley isn't as good as you. That was probably the most tempted I've ever been, but I just told her I hoped that she had fun and left it at that. She's tempting you with a three-way with another chick, and it obviously was that bad. You're like, nope, not interested. I guess the Lord was protecting you. Eventually, I realized that the ministry still felt controlling and hypocritical, so I moved out of the house I was sharing with 4 other guys to get my own place to finish my last semester. At one point, I reached out to Melanie again, but she blew me off. That finally snapped me out of it. Smack! You reached out to her? I guess you're thinking about that three-way that you passed up. Around that time, Becky started hanging out with me more. Becky is his now wife. We had overlapping classes. She majored in my minor, and I minored in her major. I asked her out once, but got cold feet and backed off. Still, we spent a lot of time together over the next 6 months, even though I resisted calling her my girlfriend. Near graduation, I went to a conference in Savannah, Georgia, with 2 friends since I was the club president. One of them, a friend named Stacy, was engaged, and I made sure to build a good relationship with her fiance so everything stayed above board. At the conference, a redhead named Tasha asked Stacy if I was single, and Stacy said yes. I ended up hanging out with Tasha the whole time, but since she lived in another state and we were leaving early anyway, I just dropped the subject. I figured, why waste the energy? Well, back home, as graduation approached, I finally admitted to myself that I tried everything to avoid committing to Becky and failed. So I decided I was going to ask her to be exclusive at that department dinner. I think the fact that you take your time with women and don't rush things is why they're into you. Well, you won't believe who called me that same night after we made it official. The Irish redheaded lesbian you lost your virginity to? No. Melanie. Of course, because they always come back. She said, I thought we had something special. I told her maybe we did, but I was more into Becky. Well, maybe if she tempted you with a 4-way with her and 2 other chicks, it would have worked. I don't know. Well, fast forward about 15 years, and Becky and I are married. It's not perfect, and I made my share of mistakes, but we built a life together. Honestly, it still surprises me that women sometimes show interest in me, even though knowing full well that I'm married. I'm only 5'6" and don't exactly seek that attention out. I'm going to come back to that at the end of the video. One thing you say that I agree with is that man's biggest power is his ability to walk away. I think Becky understands that now. Even with kids, I built a support system where I'm not trapped. Anyway, SSM, thanks for listening to part of my story. If this does make it the video, well, maybe I'll add a few more of my entertaining experiences. And for the younger guys out there, don't do long-distance relationships. I don't think Melanie ever went to Syria, and I'm pretty sure she never had kids either. Signed, Blaze. Well, bro, good story. Perfect example. I'm so glad you didn't do the long-distance relationship. She'd have been cheating on you left and right, guaranteed. And she was an oddball. And also, yes, see, you ended with Melanie, and she obviously was probably like, what the hell? And she kept finding reasons to reach out to you. Isn't that amazing? That's what they do. Always. But back to that little comment at the end about saying how you're married, but it surprises you that women sometimes show interest, even though knowing full well you're married. And you said you don't exactly seek the attention out. That's what they do. At the end of the day, it boils down to, okay, this woman, obviously some woman out there likes him enough to marry him, so it boils down to the old pre-selection type of thing. So, social proof. You know, like, okay, enough women like this guy, well, there must be something about him. And frankly, a lot of them are homewreckers. They like the idea of getting a married guy to actually stop paying attention to his wife and pay attention to them. It's the egos. They love it. And there's a whole lot of other shit there. and you say you don't exactly seek the attention out, probably because you're indifferent, kind of like you were in college. And guys that are indifferent with women drives them nuts, especially the better looking they are, because they're used to guys chasing after them all the time. But anyhow, man, nice little short story. I'm glad things are going well with your life, with your kids and all that, and I appreciate you sending it in. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.